So we've got all our pieces milled out now. These are going to be the legs, these are the middle stretchers, and this is going to be our outer frame. So let me just show you. So we've got our 4 legs, and these middle stretchers underneath are going to come out of this piece. And then these pieces are going to become this frame. These frames that are jointed into the legs, we're going to create a template and we're going to laminate it. So we'll make a curve, and then we'll put lots of strips on top. So the strips are going to be 2 mil thick, so we need to get these through the bandsaw at about 3.5, 4 mil, and then we'll sand them down to 2 mil strips, and that'll make them bendy enough that they'll go around my former. So we've cut all these on the bandsaw, but obviously they're all rough, they've all got bandsaw marks on, so we're going to fire these through the sander, because our planer doesn't go this thin, but the sander does, so we're going to fire them through there. And then we'll get these forming round our former. So now we've got our rail gluing, that is 1 of 4, and that epoxy takes 8 hours to go off, so unfortunately it is going to probably take 4 days to get them rails out. But we've got 1 gluing, so we'll do that another 3 times, but probably off camera. But while that's gluing, we're going to get these legs milled up and these stretchers milled up too, and we'll get them shaped on the spindle. So we've now got our legs planed up and we've got our stretcher rails planed up as well. We're just going to focus on the legs now. So I've roughly drawn on what they are going to be like, because I printed off this template which is an exact leg. So I've drawn around that, and what we're going to do, we're going to cut on the bandsaw, but we're going to leave it slightly over the line. I want to have some waste material to cut off. And then we're going to make a jig where you could either route off this or spindle off it. I'm going to spindle off it, but the cutter that's in it's literally just like a big router cutter. So that's how we're going to get these legs out. So now that's our legs out, we've got the tops cut, still got the bottoms cut, but I'm just going to wait for that the minute. And I'm going to move on to doing these rails. Now you could do exactly the same again and make some jigs and put them on a spindle or a router, but because there's only 2 I'm doing and each one is different, it's quite a big job to do that, so I thought it would be actually quicker just doing it by hand. So I'm just going to cut these out on the bandsaw and compass plane them in, and that should be fine. And then we'll probably work on getting these half lap jointed together. So these are our rails, we've got them half lapped if you see me do that on the cross cut just now. I did have to make a little jig to make sure that my cuts were going to be square. And you've just got to nibble really slowly until they are the right thickness for the other piece. And then they should be a nice snug fit. You don't really want a gap because it won't look pretty. So that's a nice snug fit there. So next what we need to do is we need to cut these to length. And then we need to start getting everything jointed. So now we've got our rails all glued up. That took 4 days to glue because each one of these took a day, as I said before. So there's 8 pieces of wood in each one. But as you can see, they do slip and slide when you get them glued up. So what we want to do is we want to get these widthed so they're nice and level the whole way around, like parallel. And then we want to get them on the saw and get them cut to length. So I'm using a 6mm cutter in the Festool dominoer, and we're putting 2 dominoes in here, 2 dominoes in the other side, and vice versa in the legs so they match up. Just like that. So all I've done to these is I have put a round onto them, really simple. The only thing you want to be careful is to leave your joint square. So it doesn't run through, because if it runs through, it won't look very good. You'll end up with a gap, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these glued together, get it cramped, and we'll leave that for a couple of hours, and then we can carry on with the other legs on getting them shaped. So the next stage that I want to do is I want to shape these legs. So this is the inside and this is where the stretcher comes out on all of them. So what I want to do is I want to have a chamfer that's not going into my stretcher here, so it's fairly small, but then I want it to grow and get bigger as it comes to the top. So what I've decided to do is I've set it up so that's where my stretcher comes to and that's where the chamfer will come to. So I'm going to buzz along with this size chamfer the whole way and stop at each one, and then set it bigger to that side and then spoke shave it in. You just want to make sure that you're keeping your spoke shave at 45. You don't want to start running off because it won't look that great. It'll definitely look better if you keep the angle the same up the whole way along. Then you want to look down it and just check that the curve looks nice and sweet. There's a little bump here, so we'll get rid of that. Then that's about ready for sanding. So, now we've got this front bit all rounded and the back bit chamfered. What we are doing now is we're going to carve a horseshoe on every leg at the top. So I've got this printed out, which is just a template, and I've got a bit of sticky stuff on the back. So I'm going to stick that on there, and then I'm going to carve it out. So the horseshoe is going to be sticking up proud, so we need to get rid of some waste. So I'm just using a palm router to get that done. This is something for the router to sit on so it doesn't drop in. But we're now just going to get rid of all this waste basically. So we're just going to go close to the horseshoe, but we're not going to go right up to the line. Sometimes the paper does want to flick off, so sometimes I'll just scalpel round close as well, and then the paper will just peel off to where I'm cutting to. But yeah, we'll get that done now. So that's it roughly routed out, and what we want to do now is we're going to use some carving tools and sweeten it up, get the curves flowing nice, and then it's a bit of a pain, but then you've got to try and get sandpaper in to sand it all. And then we just need to put the little bolt markings in. So yeah, I hope you are enjoying this video. If you are, please do hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, check out my other videos, and also check out my website, which is brand new. The link is in the description, and there is a few little things for sale. And if you were to buy something like that, it obviously goes back into my channel. The money goes back into my channel and helps me create better videos. There's also a donation page if you just want to donate. So for making the little bolts, I've just grinded this little old nail. Seems to work okay, and it really doesn't need too much pressure. And that's the horseshoe done. It might need a little bit more sanding up, but for now we're going to get it glued. Looks alright. So what we want to do is just put a groove in here so a string line will slot in. So we've got the spindle set up with what we call a ring fence, so it will only do a full cut as you're right in the centre of it. So if you didn't want to take much of a cut at all, you would start off here and then you can slowly build in, and it allows you to do something like this that's curved. So as you can see now, we've got a nice groove running right round, and then we can glue something in like that. Leave that to go off for probably 2 hours, clean it up, and we'll get the whole table glued together. So this is going to be the tabletop for the coffee table. Now it is a really chunky piece, it's also very cooked. The customer wanted ripple ash, and this is ripple ash, and unfortunately the only ripple ash that we have is chunky, so this is obviously just going to get milled right down to about 22 millimeters. Now what I've actually done is I've flattened off each of the 4 corners so this sits flat, so there's no rocking, and I'm just going to put this through the sander. Now if I wanted to plane it up, I would have to split it into the middle to get it through the planer, because our planer isn't wide enough, and then glue it back together after, which would be fine, but I just thought because this is so chunky and nice, why don't I just keep it as a full piece without a glue join in the middle. Now the easiest way would be to split it and glue it back together, but again you might have that risk of a slight glue join going down your tabletop where the grey might not match absolutely perfect, where this will just give it a nicer look at the end of the project. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to take quite a lot of time to get this milled down, but I think it's worth it. Take a very, very long time. Starting to have regrets on this idea, but now I've started, I'm going to keep on going with it, so push on. So we finally got the top sanded down. That took getting on for 2 hours to get that through the sander, but we're now down to 22 millimeters thick. So now it's time to shape it. We're going for an oval coffee table. So I'm going to put that on like that, and then I'm gonna route round that and get it shaped. And then we've actually got some inlay to put in too, so we'll have to make another template to put the string line in. You'll see what I mean as I do it. I hope you are enjoying this video. Please do hit the thumbs up button.
that's the end of the video. This table turned out really nice and cool. I love the black inlay in it, and it links in with the rails that it's got the inlay in here too. The horseshoes, obviously just good luck, and I think it turned out really well. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comments description. Tell me what you think of it, and if you're going to give something like this a go, let me know. And obviously you can adapt this design really easily. You could do it round, you could do it square, anything really. But the grain is absolutely stunning. It's the ripple ash again. I just can't get enough of it. I hope the owners are gonna love and treasure this as much as I would. And check out my YouTube channel with all the other videos, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.